Shiloh, it's been such a long time. How have you been, sweetie? Is little Tommy okay?
Huh? Is this Allison? Bryce from kindergarten's mom, right? Hey, long time no see. It must have been, what, over 10 months since our kids left kindergarten? Feels like forever.
I know, right? Time sure does fly, huh? Anyway, did you see all the snow?
The snow? Oh yeah, now that you mention it, I did hear something about some snow. Is there a lot?
Now that you mention it, what the hell? There's tons of the stuff.
Sorry, I only heard about it through a friend, so I can't exactly say I've seen it.
Come on, Shiloh. You're not some hermit shut-in who lives under a rock, are you?
Well, I'm not, but I do work remotely, which means I probably spend a lot more time at home than the average person. Actually, I always have to remind myself how important it is to go outside every now and then for the sake of my health. Fresh air is essential.
Exactly. Especially for children. They're creatures of the outdoors. You really should be careful not to keep that little Tommy indoors too much. He's small enough as it is without having a vitamin D deficiency to deal with, too.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyway, let's get down to business. Today's the first major snowfall we've had around here in years. It's been falling non-stop, and it's piling up like you wouldn't believe. Which is why we're having a snowball fight tomorrow morning.
Oh, really? That sounds like a blast.
Right? We'll be borrowing your backyard for the venue.
Huh? Excuse me? My backyard?
Yes, it's so big that you even have a doggy play area and some soccer goals for the kids. Isn't that right? We could probably throw snowballs all day with a small army of us and still never run out of ammo.
Maybe so, back when we actually lived there. But we moved out a while ago.
Oh, you did? Oh, well, it's not like that really matters.
Of course it matters. How could it not matter when it's not my house anymore? You have to get permission from the new owner first.
The new owner? Fine. Go ahead and let your husband know then.
What? What does my husband have to do with anything? He doesn't live there anymore either. You need permission from the actual owner.
Enough of this. I have more important things to attend to. But I just want to say a big thanks, Shiloh. We're all so excited for tomorrow. Toodles!
No, Allison, wait. What the heck? Are you serious? You still seem to think we live there despite me having told you we don't. Are you gonna show up at my old house in the morning? We moved a few months back when my daughter graduated kindergarten, which means it doesn't belong to us anymore. It has a new owner, and you can't just invite yourself into their yard for a snowball fight. You can ask for mine and my husband's permission till the cows come home, but since we no longer have anything to do with the place, you're wasting your time. Please at least make sure you knock on their door first and see how they feel about this. You aren't even reading my messages. Anyway, asking me for permission to use a yard that no longer belongs to me is meaningless. Please read these messages before you go and do something you regret. Hey sis, good evening. Sorry to message you so late. Are you free right now? Hey Shiloh, sure, what's up? Sorry to be a burden, but I was wondering if you wouldn't mind checking something for me. I need confirmation on something. Confirmation? What is it? It's about mine and Stewie's old house. Do you know whether there's someone new living there yet? You mean like, did someone else move in? I'm not really sure. I don't tend to go to that part of town anymore, so it's hard to say. I've probably been there twice at most since you moved out all those months back. And I'm sorry to say, but I wasn't really paying attention to your old house. Okay, that's fair enough. Anyway, what's all this about? Did you leave something behind? No, it's not that. Here's the thing. The mom of one of the boys from Tommy's class back in kindergarten has taken it upon herself to arrange a snowball fight in the yard of my old house under the assumption that it still belongs to me. What? People actually do that kind of thing? She's absolutely convinced that we still live there. I tried my best to explain that we don't, but she stopped responding to my messages, and I'm concerned she's gonna get herself and her whole family in trouble. Oh dear. Her name's Allison, and her son's called Bryce. He was friends with my Tommy in kindergarten. She always had a reputation for being a bit of a trouble causer back then. I did my best not to let myself get too involved with her at the time, and ironically, we didn't have any problems back when our kids actually played together most days. Who would have thought she'd be causing me this much hassle 10 months down the line after moving house? My husband just got back from work. He passes through that area most days on his ways to the office, so maybe he'll know something we don't. Give me a minute. I'm gonna go ask him. Okay, thanks. Hey, sorry I kept you waiting. So what did he say? As far as he can tell, the house is still empty. So no one else moved in yet then? He said he can't say for definite, but he says it always seems to be locked. The curtains are always closed, and he doesn't get the feeling people are living there. I see. But in that case, I wonder if that means it's being managed by the real estate agent. Besides, the fence is pretty high, so I doubt anyone could get in without going to some serious effort. Yeah, I think you're right on both points. How about getting in touch with the real estate agent just in case? Good idea. I'll give them a call as soon as they open tomorrow morning. Thanks, sis. I'm really sorry to message you this late. I know you have to be up early for work. Don't be silly. I'm happy to help, Shiloh. Hopefully we can prevent this crazy Allison woman from doing anything illegal. Speak later. See ya, sis. Thanks a bunch. Sweet dreams.
Shiloh, answer your phone! Would you mind explaining what on earth is going on here? Some strange family I've never seen before came out of nowhere and started yelling at us. They asked us what we were doing in their yard and threatened to call the police.
Good morning, Allison. It would appear you're in quite the mess, huh?
You don't say, Captain Obvious. What's going on? Explain now.
How many times did I tell you that it was no good getting permission from me because it's not my house anymore?
I don't know anything about that. It's the first I've heard of it. Who were those people? Oh my God, the police are here. They actually called them.
For the time being, I think it's probably best you focus on the predicament you're in. Good luck.
Wait, Shiloh? Please tell me why this is happening. Shiloh! How could you do this to me? Why didn't you tell me you'd moved out? You knew me and my family planned on showing up at your old house for a snowball fight, and you just let me! Shiloh! I'm talking to you! Woman! Answer me!
Hi again, Allison. I just got off the phone with the real estate agent. They told me everything. About how you showed up first thing in the morning with your own ladder and climbed over the tall fence very clearly designed to keep out intruders, before undoing the locks from the inside and letting in, as you put it before, a small army of your friends and family. Next, as if running around tossing snowballs at each other on someone else's property wasn't enough, you decided to light a bonfire on their lawn and roast marshmallows for everyone while you were at it. Then, the family scheduled to move in today arrived amidst the chaos. They were so horrified when they saw a gang of complete strangers running around like lunatics in their new yard that they reported you to the police. You know what you did is called, don't you, Allison? Trespassing.
Like I already told you, I had no idea. It's your fault for not telling me in the first place. How was I supposed to know? Do you think I'm psychic?
You don't need to be able to bend spoons with your mind to read my messages. I told you enough times.
No, you did not.
Why don't you try looking through our chat history then? Scroll through yesterday's messages and you'll see it's all there. I didn't just tell you once either.
Oh my god, I didn't see that yesterday. I stopped reading them before you told me the important bits. Why didn't you mention it earlier? What you did was as good as not telling me.
Don't be so ridiculous. What else could I do? Do you have no concept of personal responsibility? You illegally entered someone's property after I told you very clearly you'd be doing just that. Then you stopped reading my messages, which would have prevented you from being arrested today because you had, quote, more important things to attend to.
Enough of your harping on. Do something. Get me out of this mess. I don't want to get arrested.
Do something? What could I possibly do for you?
My husband just told me he's divorcing me.
Wow, that escalated quickly.
He threatened to divorce me just last month if I ever did anything to cause him trouble again.
Wow, last month? Really? So you knew you were on thin ice and you did this anyway? You were so committed to your illegal snowball fight that you were willing to throw away your marriage over it? I hope the marshmallows were tasty at least.
I never knew this would happen. I just thought it would be a fun day for the kids.
I actually thought you'd take responsibility when you read my messages and realized what you'd done. How foolish of me. It would appear you're delusional beyond help.
How horrible.
Isn't this the natural conclusion of you completely disregarding my warnings? How am I horrible? I tried to prevent this.
I'm begging you. Please convince my husband.
Convince him of what?
Tell him I have permission to use the yard, please.
For the 7 millionth time. Me and my family moved out of that house months ago, which means asking us for permission to use the yard is meaningless.
Why?
Because it belongs to the family who just called the police on you.
Please just do something. This isn't a joke. I could be in serious trouble here.
Clean up the mess you made yourself. You thought you'd spend today roasting marshmallows, but it turns out the only one getting roasted is you.
Ah!
To give a brief summary on what happened to Allison after the whole trespassing incident, compensation for the total wrecking of that poor family's new yard, among other things, was settled out of court with Allison's husband, who very kindly agreed to lend his wife the money. However, he was absolutely furious, and he'd already filed for a divorce before the day was up. Citing her dangerous antisocial behavior, the judge deemed Allison to be unfit to have custody of their son, and so Bryce went to live with her husband. Afterwards, she did try moving back in with her parents, but apparently they'd already received word of what happened through several relatives, also furious, who she took along that day, completely unaware that they were breaking the law. As a result, no one in her family, parents, siblings, even distant relatives, wanted anything further to do with her. Naturally, in her mind, I was the one responsible for all of this. And I got several threatening messages demanding I pay her compensation to make up for it. Isn't the block feature just the best? Last I heard, she's currently working like a dog to keep up with the compensation she owes for wrecking the yard and the child support she owes her ex-husband. Can you imagine a bigger nuisance than her? It's hard to believe she's actually a real person. I learn something new about the world every day.
Hey, Deb, you have some real nerve. Do you know that? I mean, really, just what kind of game are you trying to play here? I want to know why you're hanging out with my fiancé so much. Just what are you getting at? Wait, what? What is all this about? Who even are you and how did you get my number? Wait a second, I recognize the name now. Isn't this Lindsay? We used to work together, right? I remember now, I used to be your supervisor. That's right. I'm glad you deem me worthy enough to remember. But what I want to know is just what do you think you're doing hanging around with my boyfriend all the time? Your boyfriend? I don't even know who that is. Oh, don't you play dumb with me. You're not fooling anyone at all, you know. Just come out and admit it. You've been stalking my boyfriend for a long time now, and I know it. You think that I'm stalking someone? I literally don't even know the person who I would be stalking. This is just ridiculous. What's ridiculous is the fact that you're almost 50 years old now, right? So what I want to know is why an old hag like you is hanging around with a young man in his 20s. Don't you see how wrong that is for you to do that? Look, Lindsay, I can promise you that I'm not stalking anyone at all, okay? You're lying to me and I know it. I've seen you do it myself so many times. I know that you're stalking my boyfriend and it is seriously starting to piss me off, so just quit it. I still literally don't even know who you're talking about right now. I talk to and hang out with a lot of different people, so it's possible that your boyfriend is one of those people, but you still haven't even told me who that is. Tall guy, always wears a suit, broad shoulders. Does that ring enough bells for you? I work in an office where everyone wears suits, so no, if that's all you have to describe this person, then I still have no clue. Why don't you just tell me this person's name so we can stop playing this text version of Guess Who? You really think that I'm going to use my boyfriend's name in a conversation with his stalker? I wouldn't dream of it. Well, that's your choice, I suppose. But I just really think that this is the least effective way to go about doing this. I don't remember asking your opinion on that. Just make sure that you keep away from my boyfriend. Do you understand me? I literally don't understand you because first of all, I'm not stalking anyone, and second of all, I'm married. I literally have a husband and a son. I don't believe this. You're even worse than I thought. You mean to tell me that you have a loving family at home and you choose to go after my poor boyfriend? Although, I bet if I had to guess, my boyfriend would probably have to be around the same age as your son. Which makes all of this even worse. You're disgusting trying to go after someone your son's age. You're an old, washed-up cow and you need to learn to stick to your own age bracket. Got it? I don't know how many times I'm going to have to tell you that there is no stalking going on before you believe me. Shut up! I am sick and tired of having this conversation. Just make sure that you never, ever go near my boyfriend. Ever again. Oh, David, I'm home.
Welcome back, Mom. I really missed you. I can't believe your work sent you on an overseas business trip for 6 whole months.
Thank you, son. It really is nice to be back. I can't believe that I was gone for so long either. You know, I was actually supposed to arrive yesterday, but the weather was just awful. And then there were technical problems with my plane, and it was just a disaster.
Well, I'm just glad that you're back today. After all, I'm getting married tomorrow, and I was worried that you weren't gonna make it when you told me you were pushing your arrival back.
I really am sorry for worrying you. I was pretty worried about missing it myself. More than that, though, I feel so bad that I haven't been able to meet your fiancé once. I know that you both started dating a while before I left, but we were always so busy, and then I left for my trip.
Well, don't worry. You two will have plenty of time to get to know each other from here on out, and you'll finally get to meet her at the wedding. I've told her all about you, so I think you should just rest up and get ready for tomorrow.
That's very sweet of you, David. And yes, I really should go get some rest and prepare for tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow for the big day.
Have a nice night, Mom.
You too, sweetie. I'm so proud of you. Okay, now you've really gone too far, Deb. Just what the heck do you think you're doing at my wedding right now, huh? I thought I told you to stay away from my boyfriend, so why are you here on my big day? Please don't tell me that the boyfriend you were telling me to stay away from back then is the same man that you're marrying now. Of course it is. David's my fiancé, and by the end of the day, he'll be my husband. But before that can happen, I needed to make sure that you left so you didn't ruin the whole thing. I know that you were up to something. And is that really your excuse for what you did to me? The moment you saw my face, you grabbed me by the collar and dragged me out of the venue and threw me on the lawn. Then, when I tried to get back in, you told the staff to make sure that I didn't step a foot inside. Just what are you trying to pull with that, huh? What do you mean, what am I planning? My plan is to keep an old cradle robber like you out of my wedding so that I can marry my fiancé in peace. Be that as it may, I'm only here to watch my son get married. Well, you must have gotten the wrong place, because the only wedding happening here today is ours. That's exactly what I mean. This is the wedding that I'm trying to attend. Do you understand what I'm saying? I have no idea what you're saying. Maybe you're already getting Alzheimer's, you old hag. Let me spell this out for you then. David is my son. I am David's mother. Get it now? Wait, what do you mean by that? Okay, let's make this even simpler. My last name is Fairbanks, right? David's last name is Fairbanks. Are you starting to put it together now? I don't know if you just never picked up on that, or just didn't bother to even ask to see a picture of your own fiancé's mother. And I'm also sorry that as his mother, I didn't make more of an effort to meet you. You're not making any sense at all right now, Deb. I mean, just how can David be your son? I guess the ages would make sense for you to be his mom, but just because you have the same last name doesn't mean you two are related. Besides, I remember that in the office you used to go by Baker. Right. Well, that was my maiden name. Your maiden name? Are you kidding me? I guess I'll explain all this to you too. When I first started working for the company where you later joined, I was unmarried, and all the paperwork there had me under my maiden name. Apparently, it would have been a lot of paperwork and a big hassle to edit everything in the system, so I just told my boss to not worry about it and keep using my maiden name for simplicity's sake. I think that if you ask around where you work for other women who started single and got married on the job, you'll see that this isn't uncommon. No, that can't be right. You're just making up excuses and trying to confuse me, aren't you? You really think that I'm going to be fooled by some perverted grandma like you so easily? Sounds to me like you just don't want to admit that I'm really David's mother. Of course I don't want to admit that because it's simply not true. David told me that his mom manages her own company that deals with overseas trade. Basically, she's the total opposite of the sad, pathetic stalker that you are. She's actually done something with her life and owns her own company. She even went on a business trip for 6 months in another country. I doubt you've ever done anything like that in your life. And today is going to be the first day that I meet her. Well, you were mostly correct about everything that you just said. You mean like the part about you being a pathetic stalker? I'm well aware. Anyways, why don't you go ahead and tell David that his mother has gone home? Wait, what do you mean? Just tell him that you and I had a chance to meet and that I went home afterwards. I can't believe you're still trying to peddle this lie to me.
Hey, Mom, where are you? I've been waiting around since early this morning to see you. I really want you to come and meet Lindsay before everything starts.
Oh, we actually just met, dear. Didn't you hear from Lindsay?
What do you mean, so you're here already?
Well, about 20 minutes ago, I introduced myself, and she started screaming about how I was stalking you. Then she threw me out of the venue and prevented me from going back in. Just mention her old boss, Miss Baker. I'm sure she'll get the message.
Lindsay said that you were stalking me. I don't get it.
She did, and now I'm on my way to the emergency room.
Oh no, what happened?
Well, when she threw me out of your wedding, I tripped down some stairs and fell on my knee. It's starting to swell up a bit, so I think I need to get it checked out.
But I don't get it. Besides, didn't you come with Dad? Where is he?
Your dad was busy parking the car, and then apparently he forgot something and had to go back to the parking lot. It was all while he was away that this happened. But he's with me now and taking me to the hospital. Anyways, if you wouldn't mind telling Lindsay that I'm actually your mother, I think it would save us all a lot of time.
Right, got it.
This can't be happening. I don't believe it. You really were his mother this whole time. Why didn't you tell me before I did what I did? But I did tell you. I explained to you in great detail, actually. But you should have done more to make me understand. Well, I wanted to tell you in person, but before I could get a word out, you threw me down the steps. After that, I had no choice but to type it all out for you. Except you decided to ignore all of that and continue to treat me like a stalker. But that's only because I really did think you were lying. I mean, I thought that you were just some jealous old lady who quit because she knew she couldn't compete with me. But I had no idea that you left to start your own business and travel all over the world. Well, you basically took the words from my mouth. I only left that old job to start my own business. Me quitting didn't have anything to do with you, though. It didn't, at all? Although I do remember you quite clearly from those days, and it doesn't seem like you've changed one bit. Well, please come back to the wedding. It's okay now that I know you're really David's mom. I believe you now. I'm afraid I couldn't do that if I wanted to. I'm at the hospital right now because of what you did to my knee. So, you won't come back? David, please, you have to reconsider. I really am so sorry. I didn't do it to be mean. I just made a little mistake.
I just want to ask one thing, Lindsay. When you saw me walk up to you with my mom, did you really think that I was just having a casual chat with a woman who was stalking me? It's not like I haven't shown you any picture of my mom. Did you really just not realize that her and my so-called stalker were the same person?
I just don't remember, that's all.
You've got to be kidding me.
I really didn't know they were the same person.
Even if you didn't, you had to before you even bothered checking who my mom really was. You didn't even try to use your words or act like a responsible adult. And that's why I knew that I just couldn't marry you.
Please, we can still make this work.
Maybe you can, but I can't. I never want to hear from you again.
When I got to the hospital on the day of what was supposed to be my son's wedding, I was grateful that my doctor said my knee wasn't seriously injured. Apparently, Lindsay somehow heard that the injuries were quite light and tried to use that to get David to take her back. She told him that I was going to make a full recovery and that in the end there was no permanent damage, so there was no point in canceling the marriage. In response, David told her that he was going to send her my hospital bills as well as the cancellation fees for all their wedding plans. When she heard just how much that was going to be in total, she knew she couldn't pay it and begged even harder to put this all behind them. Of course, my son just ignored her, but Lindsay didn't give up and continued to follow David around, begging him to take her back. Finally, David felt like he had no choice but to go to the court and ask for a restraining order from his crazy stalker.